But I hope you enjoyed your small group breakout. It probably flew by, but you know, in these sessions where it's often like sit and listen, and we crave that human connection, it's always kind of nice to have a little bit of time to ask some questions, make some good network additions, and generally continue the discussion. So hope you all had a chance to keep those conversations going. I want to hand things over to, well, Tina is next on our agenda. Laura, I didn't know if you had additional words before I hand things over to her. But...
Sure, I could just say, so what Tina's going to do next, so we're in the second hour. We committed to start on time at the top of every hour. So everybody's moving along really good. Tina's going to just give a little overview of what we did in the CS4All script workshop last August. So the Milwaukee Tech Coalition sponsored 7 districts. Tina acted as our facilitator. She was a huge advocate to try to get this launched in Milwaukee. And we have 3 districts that are going to share a really high level overview of how they structured their team, what they came out of that workshop with in terms of goals, and then where they are right now, where they're going. So I'll have Tina sort of kick this off, and then I think we'll just, Joe just introduce each of the 3. I don't know that anybody has any slides for this part. If they do, they can cue them up with you. So Tina?
Okay, so the time is going extremely fast. Oh my God. So for those of you who would love to play around with the visions activity that I did, I spoke really quickly about. Last summer, like Laura said, the vision was really to bring CS4All script motto to the Milwaukee area. We recruited several districts to participate in the team. And as I mentioned earlier, that when we recruit the teams, we always generally like to have 5 key members. We like to incorporate a teacher, guidance counselor, or a library specialist, an administrator from the high school, and an administrator from the district. And when we came together, we essentially, the workshop was, we gave the basis for the workshop as an introduction to what is, CS4All all about, and the details around the introduction to the work. And so where the majority of the work takes place is really when we go into the script motto. And the script motto, it has 5 key rubrics that we use to help create that conversation around how do we begin to look at these areas. So there's 5 rubrics: teacher leadership, materials, curriculum materials, community and partners, and teacher, it's leadership and teacher training and development. So those 5 key areas, you go through and you measure, where do you fit? Are you emerging? Are you, novice? Or are you already at the point? And most school districts, as we start thinking about the vertical alignment, they are not even, some are doing really well, but novice and emerging. And so we take those scores and we use the CS vision, as we just did quickly as I gave an overview, and we go into and use those vision statements to help frame and determine where they are on the rubric. And from that, they take and make 3 month, 6 month, and long-term goals to how do we plan to get to moving ourselves across the rubric and moving ourselves in that direction. And so the 3 schools that are here today, given that it was a COVID year, a lot of things were going on, and the work that they were doing in the midst of that, it was just absolutely amazing. They will talk about their experience with the script workshop and their goals that they set, hopefully, and how they're progressing along in those goals. And so, Joe, to you, to the first school.
Excellent. Oh, I'm not on mute. Excellent. Thanks, Tina. I'm going to remove spotlight here. And first up, we have Kelly from New Berlin. So I'm going to make sure that I can spotlight you. You're all good to go.
Okay. Can everybody see my screen? I did create just some talking points for myself here today.
Are all good.
So we were really excited to be part of the CS Script for All Milwaukee initiative. In part, it became one of my favorite meetings of the year because it was a non-COVID conversation, and it always brought back our focus to technology, something that's near and dear to all of our hearts. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. So our team consisted of our digital learning coaches, our directors of secondary and education, teaching and learning, an assistant principal, and some educators. We did end up adding an elementary teacher because we realized through our work that was one of our weak areas, elementary. I'm just going to focus on some of our goals today. Our curricular goals is to really have a clear sequence of activities through 12th grade, so K through 12. And some of our progress that we made was making champions, design thinking work, and we're going to continue that through this year. I'm not sure why that ad keeps popping up. I need to shut that down. And then we really worked on, in the school district of New Berlin, the last 2 years, embedding our ITLS, or Information Technology Literacy Standards for the state of Wisconsin, in every class. And that really fit within our larger curricular goal of having this sequence of events and very purposeful instruction. We're also working on improving our data science AI pathway. For next year, we do have that pathway, but we're making it a little bit more strong and more purposeful. Like I said, increasing elementary programming is definitely something that we're working towards. It's in our E4E, Education for Employment plan as well. 100% of our students this year were able to, at the elementary level, participate in Hour of Code, and we had select students in 7 through 12 courses do the same. Ideally, 100% of our graduates understand what it means to have disruptors within their career, within their jobs, within schooling that relate to technology. We also want all of our students to have an innovative experience and understand the design thinking and making process. We want all of our students, including our elementary students, to have some computer science programming knowledge. Regarding our leadership and teacher professional development and capacity goal, we wanted our teachers to feel confident in reaching out to post-secondary partners, our business partners, to really learn more for them, and then help, based on the learning, develop and improve our offerings that we have. Some progress that we made due to this is we're adding a cybersecurity course. Next year, we were able to talk to WCTC, which is Waukesha County Technical College, and create some transcripted credit courses in the IT area. We're continuing to talk to some of our other post-secondary partners to see what else we can do. We also think it's important for our teachers to participate in externships so they truly understand what those careers are like that maybe didn't exist when they were in college or high school, or that they don't even know about. We saw a huge benefit from participating in this. It allowed us to continue the conversation that we started pre-COVID. It also held us accountable for our work and the goals that we set, both short-term and long-term. Allowed us to be reflective. And of course, a huge benefit from participating is learning from others and their successes and their barriers. So thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm gonna remove your spotlight here. And next up, we have Lisa Rutler from Elmbrook.
Hello, and Bob, Dr. Hall will also be supporting me with this as well. I'm going to share something it's in your folder, but this is one of the products that we were able to create due to the script training. Are you able to see my screen that says data science?
All good, Lisa. Yep.
Okay. All right. Because I have two screens going. So our work, the vision activity was really beneficial for the people that we had involved. I'm the director of secondary teaching and learning. We had an associate principal join us in our work. We also had a teaching and learning specialist, which are our instructional coaches at the elementary, middle school, and high school. And one of our computer science teachers wasn't able to attend in the August training, but has since joined our team. And so we had created our vision, which was really to provide equitable opportunities in cultivating every learner as a thinker, problem solver, collaborator, and innovator. And that really spanned not just the work that we're doing with computer science, but our whole system. So one of our leadership goals from last year was to do an equity opportunity audit to determine our students' level of access and engagement in our computer science courses, as well as all of our other opportunities associated with computer science. And from that audit, we had really found that our students who identify as lower socioeconomic and our students who identify as Black and our students of special education are not accessing our programs that we have. So working with Dr. Hall, we had developed a program of study that is intended to remove some of those barriers of students. We still have in our system, unfortunately, those I guess you can say barriers to access different courses. And then by the time they get to juniors and seniors, they're not able to access some of the inclusive and rigorous programming that we want them to do, and launch is one of those programs. So this represents some of the work that we've done throughout this year that connected back to our goals of scaling some of our key instructional frameworks. So in terms of our goal for teacher capacity, we've had design thinking in our middle school courses for a while. And so we had a goal to basically reignite that instructional framework and then develop it out from the middle school to our junior senior year, where we have Launch, which is an experiential program and more project-based. So those were key steps that we were doing to increase teacher capacity and develop them. In addition, we have one of the celebrations from the work that we did was our partnerships that we have, particularly in our Launch program with businesses. And I know, Bob, if you want to chime in and talk a little bit about that, but we want to make that more systemic and through a K-12 lens. So this program of study that you see on your screen is really trying to give multiple entry points for students. And it's a multidisciplinary approach so that it's not just computer science, but it's also math. And what that equity audit was, what we were finding is that kids on the math track have great opportunities. If you're great at math, we wanted to create a program of study where there's any entry point. So it details for students in years 1 and 2, what are different courses they can be taking. It's not just high math type courses, so that by the time they get to year 4, they're able to participate in our new data sciences strand, which it's very customized, and students are able to choose their path of how they're going to incorporate math for data science and Python for data science. Bob, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that programming.
No, I think you did a really nice job, Lisa, of showing the tension or balance between a traditional way to go about computer science, which offers kids some growth opportunities that are really interested and motivated from the onset. And then also, how do we create a computer science program that can give students that have virtually little to no experience a chance to dial in and be successful, and really just show the beauty of that field. So it's really those two tensions that we continue to work through, as well as what we have heard from our industry partners about how can we get students to be self-directed learners in the area of technology skill development. And there are a ton of different resources out there for educators that we're exploring to see what works, maybe what doesn't work. But this idea of here's a new skill, how do you become aware of it? How do you practice it? How do you learn it in a self-directed way?
So just in closing, this is our product that really resulted in us sticking to our 3, 6, and long-term goals that came from the CS for All activities that we started last August.
Excellent. Thank you, Lisa and Robert. I'm going to remove your spotlights, and then I'm going to invite Antonio to come up and talk a little bit here. As soon as I can find your name. All right. There we go.
Hey, let me share my screen here. Do you see my screen or no?
You're all good.
Okay. Well, due to the amount of teachers that we got and so many schools that we got in the district, we decided to come up with a team. It was comprised of two teachers from K-8 school, two high school teachers, two elementary teachers, one community member, one business partner, school bay administrators, and other central office staff. Not everybody could meet at the same time, but we all shared the work that we were doing. Some of the goals that we identify, I'm just going to be brief in the goals, is to identify the core team and the members who are going to be representing different grade levels. Besides the teachers that we have in the team, we decided those teachers to make sure that they communicate and get some feedback from the teams within their building. We use data to analyze the needs of the school, and I can talk about that a little bit later, and develop a district-wide professional development plan for all teachers, and support staff based on the skill levels, because we got teachers who already are been doing teaching computer science for a long time. We others have, it was the first time, so we need to make sure that we make sure that everybody had a chance to participate in these professional development. And most important, we wanted to include the parents, because sometimes we tend to forget that, you know, our parents, some of the parents didn't have the chances that their kid having, so we need to make sure that they understand what the kids are going through. The other ones is identifying stakeholders that will be involved through this implementation at school level or district level, and communicate our goals. And then we wanted to present the plan of action for all K-12 to our senior staff and school board members and other key personnel. The progress that we have made, we keep meeting every other month with the team, and then keep going back to make sure the progress using the rubrics that we talked about before. We also survey teachers, the whole district, and we survey principals in the whole district. What we're trying to keep, you know, overcoming barriers is to keep supporting the implementation at the school level, at the district level, and find out what the states are doing to make sure it's all connected. We keep seeking funding for professional development and support staff to reach our goals, and make sure that to keep supporting our trained teachers. And we wanted to make sure that we build capacity and equity. In our schools, we have so many programs. We got Project Leadway Computer Science. We are working with Marquette, with PalmCS, that we have over 300 teachers trained. We have about 6,500 kids already taking computer science courses. But we want to make sure that it's not concentrated in one area. We want to make sure that all the areas in the city are being impacted by this. And this is our vision.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Antonio, Kelly, and Lisa. You know, these lightning talks, to hear what you're all doing within your respective areas is amazing. And so appreciate that. And as you've started to all feel the pace that we're going through, I'm going to hand things over to Laura. Antonio, I'm going to remove your spotlight. Laura, I'm going to bring you up to talk a little bit more about some regional resources for all of us.
I think in the interest of time, what I wanted to do originally, can you see my screen right now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. What I wanted to do originally is actually give you a demo of the computer science toolkit that exists on the STEM Forward site. But in the interest of time, I'm not going to do that. But what I did do is talk a little bit about how we're trying to make what you just heard more accessible to more districts. And so what I mean by that is we weren't able to offer another CS4All script workshop this summer. We continue to work, and we want to support the 7 districts that we did sponsor last summer. But you're going to hear in the next part what the state is going to be doing to make this more accessible to districts. In the meantime, we're trying to democratize some of the guidelines, the process that our districts went through, and the ability for them to access rubrics. So essentially, if you wanted to, before you're able to participate in an actual CS4All script workshop, there is resources available to you on the STEM Forward site. So the Milwaukee Tech Hub Coalition developed this toolkit probably 2 years ago. We've now refreshed it to embed CS4All resources, all the rubrics, everything to make it possible for you to start going through step by step. So the first thing you'll see on here is where you start. If you're on the STEM Forward site, you're going to go under Bring STEM into my classroom. That's step 1. When you get to that page, step 2 is you'll find the Milwaukee Tech Computer Science Toolkit. You'll say Learn More. And then step 3 is where it stands right now. 1 is some of that case for change. What is the why that brings us to a point where CS4All script is important? And then it'll start with district admin, and there's a very intentional reason for that. Is anybody who knows me knows that I'm very passionate about this not being a computer science teacher's job to build a computer science program in your district. It is a district administrator's job. And so in the next hour, you'll see sort of the path that New Berlin went through to make sure that it was a team effort. And so it starts with district admin, how you form your team, just like you just heard with the 3 examples that were just provided, and then what those rubrics are and how you walk through those to start establishing your own goals. And then the third piece is resources for educators. So this is where, when you have a culture of inclusivity around computer science education, K through 12, not just in one elective, when you have that, there's all of these resources to plug you into to make sure that you can be successful. And so that's where those resources are. So please take some time after today's meeting to sort of dig around in there. And then at the end of the day, I really want to hear from you. Where does it fall short of what you need? And then we're going to continue to evaluate how to improve that and actually build out a lot more of the pages. So I'm going to leave it there because I'm really excited to bring up Janice, who's going to talk through what the state is doing with CS strategy.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you to everyone for what you shared so far. It's validating what we're doing at the state level. My name is Janice Murtis. I'm Assistant Director of Teaching and Learning, but everything digital learning. And I also have 2 other colleagues with me today, Chad Kleefoff, our digital learning consultant, and Julie Bormet, our math consultant. And very purposeful that we are working as a cross-collaborative team at the state level. I didn't prepare any slides because we are in the process of drafting a state plan and also curating resources. So some of you have already spoken today. We might be reaching back to you as we have a goal to scale some of these programs statewide. So I just want to reach back to some of Todd's comments. And you know, this last year with COVID has elevated digital literacy technology and the skills needed to create a digital workforce, a digital student population that really, I think, is eye-opening to many districts as far as what do they do with all these newfound skills? How do they keep incorporating them? But more importantly, in 2017, we had released the computer science standards at the state level in the spring, and later that fall we had released the revised information and technology literacy standards, which I know New Berlin referenced in their presentation. So we're not just standards at the state level. We like to do some action as well. So I'd say it is 2021, so it's taken a few years, but we are glad to announce that under our new state superintendent and the vision for equitable access to computer science and a spectrum of K-12 digital literacy skills, we will be releasing later this fall a state plan, which again, I want to clarify, it's not a mandate. It's organic. It's not anything the legislature told us we had to do. This is very much a what's best for our schools, what is best for preparing our students for the future. And I know you're going to hear from Eric next about some of the pathway work connected, but more importantly, what are the essential skills for students? And that goes across the terms of computational thinking, digital literacy, but then those workability skills, agility, flexibility. So nothing none of you already probably aren't aware of, but to actualize it and to say, what does the state think about this and what is our role? Our role is to make this work easier for everyone. So the first thing we've been working on internally again is those cross connections to ensure that we have a common message and some coherence, but we also are working hard to get that information organized. So we have done substantial updates on the computer science webpage that DPI hosts. Questions about licensing, questions about pathways, questions about resources and partners that we're going to keep adding to. But then we also have some other programs in line. And I want Julie and Chad to have an opportunity to speak to some of those. But the plan's purpose is to just elevate this collective idea in every corner of the state. And I know most of you are from the Milwaukee region. You've got great partners and resources, but what do we do with the northwest part of the state? What do we do with the southwest part of the state? And how do they learn from everyone? And I will say, because of the virtual impact this last year, also, how do we equitably and are able to now scale access to programming, mentors, technical higher ed courses, because we've had those connections, because we want to be purposeful. So the plan ad hoc work committee includes some people from your region. Very honored to have them involved because of the strong programming in your region. But again, every other corner of the state, as well as our collaborative partners, our cooperative education service agencies called CSAs. And I'll again hold off. I'll let Chad talk about our script training. So I'm going to quickly go to have Julie Bormet, our math consultant, just quickly talk about what does this mean across content areas, and especially in math. I will say, talking to our other state peers, to have your math people on board is a huge advantage. And what does that mean? And Julie's going to talk about the new standards, and that type of thing. And then we'll jump to Chad, and he can talk about how we're scaling the script program moving forward. So I will turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Julie Bormet.
Hi, everybody. I am Julie Bormet, one of 2 math consultants with the State Department. And it is a pleasure to be here with all of you and seeing the collaborative efforts on this, call, as well as sharing the collaborative efforts that are happening at our state agency. It is exciting to bring together specific content areas and see where the cross sections are. For example, I speak to mathematics because that is my area of expertise, and we've just recently come off a new adoption of mathematics standards for the state. And it definitely, we see overlap with the computer science that we want students to have those experiences. One of the shifts that we've written that goes along with our math standards is about seeing students as flexible users of mathematics. And part of that flexibility in using mathematics certainly relates to when computer science can be a helpful tool in solving the problems that they're interested in thinking about and solving. Mathematical modeling and computer science certainly go really well together, along with math's connection to data science and so many other areas. So it's really exciting to see that those same collaborations are being talked about here in this venue as well. So just know that we are here as support, and we love everything that's happening. Thanks.
And we're also working with our CTE area and doing crosswalks between these standards. So again, Standards shouldn't be used in isolation, and we know school districts only have so much time, content time with students. But again, part of those skills include those soft skills, those employability skills. I'll next have Chad Kleefoff talk about our scaling of script. So as Tina Boyle-White so eloquently talked about script, we've been watching this program, we've been watching some of the pilots. We're now putting some funding behind supporting the scaling statewide and recognizing the regional value of partnerships across script plans. So Chad, if you could kind of give an overview and highlight of what we're doing with that program.
You bet. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to chat with such a powerful and influential group in your region. So as Janice said before, really the key to this plan is to create a statewide vision for CS and really give us an opportunity to ground some of the amazing things that are happening and create a message of fidelity across the state, so we can have those common conversations. We're looking at, Janice kind of mentioned expanding CS to K-12, ensuring that we're getting that early integration into schools, making sure that it is cross-curricular, as well as strengthening our standalone programs. And so what we're doing is we're working with our CISA partners. All 12 CISAs have signed on to go through the script training, and that will happen here in a couple of weeks. They will become script trainers, and they will be working with a pilot district to then leverage what they're doing and how that training works, to be walked through that whole process. And then we will have the next steps are kind of two things. One will be for them to create their own regional plan, get an idea of what computer science looks like in their region, how they can leverage the resources that they have, and then how they can scale that out in their own region, as well as work with one another across the state to possibly connect with other regions in order to leverage some of those resources. And then the second part is to do more cohorts, as they are now trained, they're now trainers. They can work with other districts and continue to focus on the needs of those districts and how they can grow those programs within their region. So it's really exciting to be able to bring them in and kind of get us all on that same page and ensure that we're having connected conversations all the way across the state. There are some very strong regions, and we want to make sure that we highlight, some of those great opportunities from all across Wisconsin.
Chad, if I can just ask one quick follow-up question. For the districts that are on the call today, what is the call to action there? We know that the CISA training is happening this summer, and the CS state plan will be out in fall. Are districts supposed to maybe ask their leadership or their superintendent to contact CISA, or what is your recommendation?
Sure, I would, the CISAs have all worked through the CISA administrators to distribute this information. So we are doing our pilot, our train the trainer in July. So each CISA is supposed to get one district in July. Moving forward, then we will come up with a recruitment and strategy for each individual CISA. And even if a district maybe doesn't connect with their CISA, this is where the trained trainers will be accessible and they can access. And this is a multi-year plan. So we are looking at multi-year funding to support this. So again, going from 2 to 24 trainers in this time, but then also again, continue to build on it. So we're going to slowly get more information out. And as our state superintendent's office launches this plan in fall, we will have a more coherent plan about that connectedness moving forward. So you guys are getting kind of a preview, and some of the people on this call were part of our initial plan review yesterday, and we're reviewing that. We have great feedback. Also want to call out the connected work with higher eds, and I know I'm probably down to 30 seconds, Joe. So this is really the beginning, but yet really also complementing so much of the work that's already been done. And we talk about equity, it's where you live shouldn't matter. Your access shouldn't have barriers to it. So we're really looking at this with some of the things that you've already mentioned, but how do we dig into that and ensure that we can put resources and support into the hands of school districts. So it's going to be exciting, but we also know it's going to take a village, and just happy to connect with this group and continue to be connected as needed as we move forward. So Joe, I'm going to give you 10 seconds back.
Ooh, this is amazing. Janice, Julie, Chad, thank you so much. And it's a nice transition as we talk about CISAs to bring up Eric Hill from CISA 1. And so I'm going to remove these spotlights. Thank you. And Eric, I'm going to find you and make sure that we can all see you. There you go.
Awesome. All right, thank you very much. And thank you, Janice, for the smooth transition. My name is Eric Hill. I'm with CISA 1. I'm a regional career pathways coordinator, but I am also going to be the trainer for the CS4All and Scripps program for our region. Myself and my colleague, Kayla Carell, who is our academic and career planning coordinator for our region as well. And so we work closely in collaboration, and I'll talk about academic and career planning a little bit here in my 10 minutes, and then how does that tie into Pathways Wisconsin and the Pathways work that we are doing in collaboration with many of you. So Pathways Wisconsin is really an effort to build partnership between K-12, higher ed, employers to have these ready-made academic and career plans for our students. We really want to help to showcase these high skill, high demand, up and coming jobs that are available in our region, and to help our students better access those opportunities from a place of knowledge and empowerment so that they know where they're going and why they want to go there. And so together we're referring to this as regional career pathways. That is really all part of the academic and career planning process, which starts as early as 6th grade, where students are starting to do self-interest surveys, getting to know who I am, what my skill sets are, what my passions are, where my interests lie. And they begin to narrow that down for some, not all students, right? We still have students where, hey, they're gonna go that traditional path. They don't know where they wanna be by 12th grade, but at least they have breadth of experience and knowledge there. We also have students that are able to say, hey, computer science is a place of interest for me. AI is a place of interest for me. Cybersecurity is a place of interest for me. How can I get started with that? What classes should I be taking at the high school? What programs do my communities offer? What dual enrollment opportunities are available at my technical colleges? Or what early credit can I earn at my four-year colleges? And so which higher eds are offering which programs for them to go to. In some cases, if they're not looking to go to post-secondary, what are their opportunities to enter that career field out of high school, and then to gain that experience in the workplace and get upskilled throughout. And so again, this is a 6-year and beyond process where we're starting to expose and increase the knowledge and experiences available to our students throughout. We are doing this work in collaboration with M7 and the MMAC. And so this is a highly collaborative effort. And then M7 helps us to facilitate our relationships with individuals like the Milwaukee Tech Hub or the Talent Coalition, or all of these different relationships and I guess tentacles that we have into our communities throughout. And so CISA works at a high level with our educators and our students with academic and career planning and the regional career pathways work, as well as forming that strong partnership with our higher eds and HERA. And then M7 is kind of that business and community side of it. So helping us to be in a business advisory group, understand the industry and talent market, and how regional career pathways apply to that. Together, our ultimate goal is to really build, again, that knowledge and exposure to these different occupations that are available to help determine what is happening in our region, not just what's happening now, but what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years, so that we are preparing our students for that future that is ahead of them, and they can plan successfully for it. And then how can we utilize the amazing breadth and depth of rich post-secondary learning opportunities that we have here in our region too. There's 25 institutions that we're working with as a part of the regional career pathways here in southeastern Wisconsin. So there's just an incredible amount of post-secondary opportunities, and we want to be more explicit and transparent about what those opportunities are and what they entail. Ultimately, so that we can grow our own. Laura talked about we can't steal from other places. We're going to just create job shortages or labor shortages in other areas. So how can we help to just grow this new talent and get that talent to stay here and make our community in southeastern Wisconsin stronger, and then continue to draw new people into our region, and ultimately build really a stronger and more inspired workforce. Some of the information that we used, it's been talked about already today, but we used the MC database, and M7 is really integral in helping us to do that. Again, to better understand, what are our employers doing? Maybe what new employers are going to be coming into our region? What jobs are becoming more available? And maybe which occupations are becoming less available because they're switching to automated, type work. And then we want to also look at, what's going to provide for a family. So we want our students to be able to know, what is their economic outlook on these things as well. So we look at this type of data. We look at what is showing up in job applications, what skill sets are employers looking for. We want to be able to communicate that to our K-12 system as well. So we're ensuring that we're teaching those essential skills, and we're explicitly doing so, and that we're helping students to be able to articulate what their skill sets are better. One of the things that was quite interesting to me is, as we looked at what the skill sets employers are saying they are looking for are, and then what skills our students are maybe putting into job applications, for whatever reason, they're not matching up, even though we know those skills are being taught in our schools and our students are leaving with that skill set. They're not talking the same language, and we need to do better at communicating that. We also want to look at our up and coming career opportunities like computer systems analyst, and look at which demographics are opportunities for us to target. Which ones can we go after and say, hey, this is something that we need to do a better job communicating to you as a potential opportunity immediately out of high school, or for women in the workforce, or for people of color. How can we do better at connecting with and communicating with and creating opportunities for you? So we work with our industry partners, again, to better understand that labor market information. They help to inform our regional career pathway map creation. I'll show you what one of those maps looks like in a little bit. And then to help to endorse those maps at a state level, so that we can say, in fact, this is what it means to complete a pathway. And then all of our employers know what skills they have, experiences they have, as they leave our K-12 system and go into our higher eds. And then working with HERA to better communicate what we're doing at the K-12 across our higher ed institutions. And so then we can inform one another on the programs that exist or need to be developed, so that we can provide training like the scripts and CS4ALL to our K-12s. And again, to develop and implement those regional career pathways maps to inform families and students and educators at a higher level. Currently in our region, these are the pathways that we do have. So we have patient care, construction, advanced manufacturing, digital technology, and new this year to us is business and finance. And in the future, we'll be looking to also add technical training and education. This is what these maps look like. So what we've done is, again, we've looked at that labor market information. We've identified these high skill, high demand, and future potential job opportunities. We've broken them down into verticals within the digital technology space. And then we've also broken it down based on education level. So students can begin to look at this and understand that I want to go on and I want to pursue a degree at a four-year college. Here's the different careers that I could be looking at within the digital technology space or specific to data technology. And they can click on that. They can get brought to a labor market database that talks about what skills and dispositions are required for jobs like this. What is the potential income and outlook for that position? And then they can even come down and see which institutions in our region or even across the state offer programs that would allow for them to pursue those occupations. So this was done in collaboration again with M7 and then with Milwaukee Tech Hub and a number of employers to confirm that in fact this is representative of our region. And then this is from Grafton High School. So an example of then we take that, we bring it to our K-12s and we work with them to identify what sequence of courses do they have in place that fall in line with the digital technology pathway. What are some other recommended courses that maybe they would want to consider? What are some career and technical student organizations they have, work-based learning experiences or youth apprenticeship opportunities, early college credit or transcripted credit opportunities? And then what are some programs that are available at a state, a regional, or a local level that students can get involved with and that are endorsed by that school? So that is a brief snapshot of what Regional Career Pathways is and how it ties into all of the things that we've talked about today with economic development, as well as our CS4All program.
It's fantastic, Eric. Thank you for sharing these resources. Chris, I agree with you in the chat. This is some really good stuff to see, and I think that's been great. We've been able to have some visuals along with all of this, and so we do want to open it up like we did in the first hour. You saw my chat message here. We're going to open up these breakout rooms for some continued discussion. The breakout rooms align with everyone that we just heard from, as well as Joe from NC-WIT, the National Center for Women in Technology, to talk more about making some accessible resources for that org. And just like before, you'll be able to choose which room you want to go into. If you need any assistance, I'm happy to place you in there. Laura, I see you literally raising your hand.
Yes, I am. I literally, I really want to make sure, like for Joe's breakout, because we didn't have him speak earlier in the agenda, he'll be talking about the aspirations in computing program at the K-12 level. He has information on counselors for computing, how counselors can be advocates, and then also a little bit about higher education, if that is something you're interested in, extension services. So just want to give a plug there for those that want to talk about gender equity in tech.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you back here in 12 minutes. And as well, if you need to like take the stretch break and go bio break, food, all that sort of stuff, feel free to do that for a moment here. But otherwise, I'll open these up and we'll begin our next hour of presentations at 1.